from those relieved families in New York, Jeremy Brown's story may give hope to other parents reeling from college sticker shock.
The transition was rough at first, but I think this is the right place for me, and I feel pretty well taken care of.
Jeremy's in his first year at Lewis and Clark College.
But I'd always wanted to go to Stanford, and since like 7th grade. The truth may be that certain people aren't going to be able to afford to go to Stanford, and that's not going to be there.
Well, I think Stanford would tell us that you could have afforded it.
Well, technically I could have, but I would have been in the hole by $100,000.
This smart and talented kid from Iowa decided that his dream wasn't worth the debt, especially since Lewis and Clark offered a hefty scholarship.
I'm here, and I'm going to make the best of my opportunity here.
With tuition costs rising still at twice the inflation rate, the big question is, what do parents and students get for all their money? Here at Lewis and Clark College in Portland, Oregon, annual tuition and room and board total nearly $22,000, about average for a small private liberal arts school. But where does it all go?
Right now I'm double majoring in East Asian Studies and foreign languages.
I wanted to share with you another translation.
No surprise, more than a third of tuition goes for instruction.
She said, "Gunyang," meaning young lady.
We are a labor-intensive organization, and the cost of labor is not merely in salaries, but the benefits that we're having to pay with.
So these are basically classrooms all along here and over here.
17% pays for maintenance of the physical plant.
I like the amenities of the library and having a comfortable place to study.
Here, 5% subsidizes the library. Journals, databases, books.
You work out every day?
Yeah.
Oh, this is nice.
4% pays for athletic facilities, a sort of private health club. But twice that amount goes for student services, things like career guidance.
They get a certain basic amount of therapy or personal counseling. Many, many colleges and universities do that.
If Lewis and Clark suddenly cut tuition, say $4,000 or $5,000, do you think that people would assume that something drastic had happened to the quality of education here?
I think they would assume that some crisis had occurred, yes. There does seem to be, in the public's mind, a correlation between quality and price.
So most colleges aren't even trying to cut tuition. People might think the quality of education had been cut as well.
We have developed a culture of education in the United States that has required better services, better facilities, more technology than was there the previous decade.
Lewis and Clark admissions, this is Marie.
Administration of all this gobbles up nearly 13% of tuition.
She's still on the wait list, and she's high on the wait list, as you know.
But what might most surprise parents is that the last chunk of tuition here, nearly 20%, goes toward financial aid for other students.
We are, in fact, doing what the healthcare industry has done for a long time. We are taking funds from those who can afford to pay, and in part, we are handing them over to those that cannot.
Welcome to our astronomy class on light.
So Lewis and Clark gives financial aid to 2/3 of its kids, who need it because of what Lewis and Clark charges.
Light to bend in different ways depending on the shape of my mirror.
What is your fear about the way that the whole tuition thing is going?
My fear is not that we will find ourselves in a position where the poor cannot afford us and only the wealthy can, but that we will squeeze out of our institution, above all, the middle class.
That was Jeremy Brown's problem. He didn't qualify for much financial aid, but the school wanted him very badly.
What specifically did Lewis and Clark offer you?
Full tuition for all 4 years, provided I keep my grades above 3.3 GPA, I think. So that's like $17,000 a year.
Stanford only offered Jeremy a $1,700 loan. Big-name schools don't have to lure kids with merit scholarships.
Merit scholarships sometimes put a lot of pressure on students and especially on parents. We were disappointed that he chose not to enroll at Stanford University, just knowing what a talented student he is.
For Lewis and Clark, Jeremy's also an investment.
In attracting somebody the caliber of Jeremy, a merit scholar sends signals a couple different ways and has a ripple effect. Number one, everybody at Jeremy's high school knows where he went to college.
It's good advertising.
Yeah, that's right.
You could say that Lewis and Clark sort of bought you, right?
You could say that, but I earned the scholarship, you know? It's not like I didn't work my butt off in high school, and I feel honored by it. I don't feel like they bought me off, really.
All Jeremy pays for here is room and board.
Mom's not here to tell me to pick anything up, so.
So with tuition taken care of, Jeremy gets a $22,000 year of Lewis and Clark for just $5 grand. A far cry from Stanford's nearly $30,000 price tag.
In the end, you're going to have a diploma from Lewis and Clark. You're not going to have a diploma from Stanford. Does that trouble you at all?
No, I actually think Lewis and Clark's reputation is on the rise, and I'm so glad I made that decision, because it's not a stress now for me. Financially, there's no stress. I don't have to worry about that. You know, I can concentrate on what I'm doing here, having fun, learning.
Some final advice from the experts. As with any major investment, when it comes to college, shop around. You can get a quality education without paying top dollar. Ultimately, you're paying for more than prestige. You're paying for knowledge and skills that will last a lifetime.